Hey, Dave here from Powerhoof with another Drifter Dev Diary. Today I want to talk about controller input schemes for point-and-click adventures. First I'll do the Drifter Dev Diary bit. It's been going well. Had a Melbourne Games Week thing recently, so there's been that was last week, and so I had chatting to a bunch of other devs and stuff again, which has been really fun. We've still got the Drifter demo up on Steam, so especially if you want to try out the controller input, plug a controller in and try that. I'll leave it up for a few more days, even though the Games Week thing's finished. So catch it while it's up. What else? Yeah, so Matt's been doing more backgrounds. Here's a this one's a sort of underground bunker, a lot of rusty corrugated iron stuff, and yeah, he's getting he's smashing these. Like the lighting, this is so good, love it. We've also got Alex, or Cannon Breed as he's known online. His pixel artist who's been helping us now with character art and stuff like that, so that's really cool. And my role's kind of moved towards I'm doing some there's been some playtesting fixes from the playtesting of the last chapter, so I've been getting that stuff in. But then more kind of getting onto doing like art briefs, and then doing like polish and getting sound and audio and art into the game, which is kind of cool. So I'll rock on to the controller-y dev diary bit. Control schemes, like controlling a point-and-click adventure with a controller, is something I wanted to do for the Drifter to make it, especially I really wanted it to feel native on things like the Switch, so you could feel like you could pick up the Switch and play the Drifter without it feeling like you're just playing something which is a port of a PC game, or I wanted to feel like it's a console game as well as, at least on the consoles. But I didn't want to have to sacrifice what I like about point-and-click adventures. Which I guess is where are we? This one. The controls for point-and-click adventures is interesting because it lets you, rather than the way most games work, where you're controlling the actions of the character. What I realized when I was thinking about this was the way point-and-click control schemes work is you're controlling the thoughts of the character more. So the character's standing still, and you're thinking about all the things in the room. Like there's a bag over here, there's an entrance here, there's someone to talk to, there's a car over here. And so it's a lot more analytic. You're sort of almost taking the role of the character in a different way. You're not controlling their body so much as controlling their thoughts. And so, you can interact with something that's like off in the distance, like up here. It says all quiet up there now. I think the siren scared them off, and you're thinking about up there, or your clothes over here. Whereas I think, so that's a hard thing to interpret into a control scheme where you're trying to do more direct control. Yes, so I'll show you Monkey Island, because Monkey Island's done a good job at this. Zip back over here. But Monkey Island lets you move with direct control. So analog stick moves you around, and hotspots highlight when you're near them, and you can press the button that pops up, and it tells you what verb it's going to do. And it's very similar to the mouse. Like if you mouse over in the same way, say the same thing. So it does put a lot of stuff on the screen. So you walk over here, and there's a lot of text there. That's the only one. I guess one of the small downsides is that it does kind of, as you're walking around, you maybe aren't thinking oh, what's this interesting ship, and sort of moving your mouse over it to see what it is. Instead, you sort of start to look more at the interface, and that kind of maybe gets in the way of sort of the game a bit more. It's a bit more in your face. Things like things like walking through this archway. You just walk through it. It feels nice and natural, like it would in an action game. When you've got multiple hotspots, you can toggle between them with the stick to work out what you'd like to do. And then the inventory is a little more clunky. So you open it with Y, it's fine, and move around. grab and then press Y again to hide that. And it's quite interesting now that they let you interact with anything on the screen. I think that's because it's a bit clunkier to get things out in and out, and like if you were trying to see what you could use it on, that would be a bit harder. But you can also see why they limit it to just the things nearby you normally, because when you've got, say, that open, if I wanted to try and use that on the sign over there, that's kind of a lot of taps to get over there. But yeah, it's very functional, and so I've been playing it a bit on with my mouse and a bit with the controller. The controller is actually nice because in Monkey Island you can't skip text with clicking the mouse. You have to have one hand on the keyboard, and so it's nice on the controller. Just tap B when you want to jump through text. So it's a huge step forward. The thing that most games do is just let the analog stick control the mouse cursor, which I find quite. You get used to it, but it definitely feels like it's a port of a PC game and not something which is meant to be natively for that platform. But I'll jump into showing the Drifter. Here we go. So similarly to Monkey Island, analog stick controls the character's movement. Walking through places is pretty similar. Through that. And but instead of the hotspot sort of highlighting all the time and toggling between them, I have a kind of a look button you can hold down, and then there's a few ways I let players do this. You can hold down the right trigger and then use your walk button to sort of scrub through the different objects, and this was sort of my analog of like the character looking around and at the room himself, the same way the player does, and thinking about what he could do. I'm not showing verbs like Monkey Island does of like what the character will do. Instead, I'm using an icon. So if it's a use, it's a hand. If it's talk, it's a speech bubble, and and there's look as well. If he's got something to say about something. Most of the time, yeah. So there's search, so a little search thing, and then the little X. There's things which I have which aren't interactable, and that's because Monkey Island tries not to have too many hotspots around, but I do. I like in adventure games where there's a lot of stuff to interact. If you see something that looks interesting, you want to be able to, like this barrel, even though I haven't designed any puzzles with it, I want to be able to at least have a bit more information about it. And so I'm not letting, I don't want to have to write a million lines of spoken dialogue because they don't really serve any purpose. But I've got something which a Wadjet Eye game, Unavowed, did, where they show a little, I think they did a red dot or something like that. But yeah, you can get a bit of a description and see what it is, but you can't interact with it. So the alternative way of doing it is you can just scrub around with the right stick and then tap to interact. Otherwise, it's hold that down, hold the look button down, and then let go to interact. Inventory. So my inventory so far is pretty simple. It's just there's toggle buttons, and then when you're looking around, you can just click it to try it. So if I try the lead out on the car, and it feels pretty nice. The problem then becomes when you've got too many, you have to toggle through them. It's pain in the butt. And so I'll have a radial menu as well. So probably left trigger opens a radial menu of using the similar thing. You can scrub through the different ones and then just select the one you want. And I think that I quite like the scrubbing. I think it feels a bit nicer than tapping a lot. It is a bit fiddly when you get a lot of hotspots around you. So I do have to massage like which ones you can interact with. So like over here, you can't interact with the bag, it's too far away, and so there is a bit of that distance limiting. But yeah, for the most part, I'm pretty happy. Like when I showed people playing it on Switch and they were playing it on Switch, people picked it up really quickly. It was interesting seeing how many people use hold the button down to look at things, and then hold the button down and then let go to interact, compared to using the right stick. And I think it just depends. On Switch, that feels a lot nicer because the Switch is just a bit small for bigger hands. But it's nice to be able to let people do whichever they like. Yeah. So yeah, it's I've got a bit more to do, especially with a radial inventory menu, and also letting the player letting the player unplug this again. Yeah, letting the player use inventory items on each other. So that's something I've got to experiment with a bit. This sort of development takes a lot of playtesting, a lot of iteration. But yeah, I was really happy with the point I got this to. Looking forward to doing some more with it soon. The Drifter Dev demo's up still after Games Week for at least a few more days if you want to check it out quickly before I take it down again. Oh, the other thing I should mention is we've got Kurok plushies. Maybe I can look that up somewhere. Yep. So this guy, get on it. Yep. So he'll be up here for 16 more days, but we need we're only at 20% funded, so we need more to be able to make it. He's pretty cool. He's about this big. Barney's got it at the moment. I can't show you, but yeah, we got a sample. It's awesome. So yeah, if you're a Kroll fan, jump in get that link from the description. But that's it for me. Till next time. Bye.